Good afternoon and welcome to the Software Engineering Institute's webinar series. My name is Shane McGraw and I'd like to thank you all for attending today's webinar. Our webinar series presentation today is Empower Your Smart Grid Transformation, presented by speaker David White.
Thank you, Shane. And thank you all for joining today. So again, my name is David White. As you all know, there's a major power grid transformation that's underway around the world. And a lot of utilities have had the question, in light of this transformation, how can we develop effective roadmaps? How can we track our progress against those roadmaps? And how can we understand our posture as compared to our peers in the electric power industry? The Smart Grid Maturity Model, which is the focus of today's webinar, was developed to address these concerns. This slide, page 8, shows the history of the Smart Grid Maturity Model. The model was developed by utilities for utilities. Specifically, the Global Intelligent Utility Network Coalition developed the Smart Grid Maturity Model starting in late 2007 and released it for use in mid-2008 as version 1.0. And there's a list of the core participants on the coalition shown on this slide. I'm not going to read them to you, but they are innovative utilities from around the world. Utilities used version 1.0 of the Smart Grid Maturity Model when it was released from the coalition. And in early 2009, the coalition turned over the Smart Grid Maturity Model to the Software Engineering Institute and asked us to serve as the model steward, which we have since that time and plan to for the foreseeable future. At the SEI, we stood up a project to interact with the users of the model and to evaluate the model, which ultimately led to some improvements we made to the model when we released version 1.1 in late 2010. In version 1.1, we enhanced the model content. Specifically, we added security coverage, for example, or enhanced security coverage in the model content. We refined the architecture of the model, and we fleshed out the model itself as part of a complete product suite that supported utilities in using the model to develop and track progress of roadmaps in their smart grid transformation. So in late 2010, version 1.1 became available for utilities to use. Early this year, in January, we initiated a certification program for a role that we call SGMM navigators. And I'll talk more about the navigation process and the role of an SGMM navigator later in the presentation today. I just want to also take this opportunity. Many of you may know members of our core development team, so I'd like to introduce them. They're all listening in today. So you may know these folks, and I encourage you to include the SGMM in future conversations with them. Austin Montgomery, Julia Mullaney, James Stevens, Barbara Tyson, Ray Jones, and of course me. So that's the core development team for the Smart Grid Maturity Model.
Okay, folks, and at this point we're going to have another quick polling question. And what we'd like to know is just how you first heard of the SGMM. Was it from using the model directly on the SEI website? Did you hear about it at a conference or event? Was it this particular webinar, or is there some other way you heard of the model? Okay, we got a pretty good mix there. Thank you again, folks, for that information. Again, it's just helping us decide how we're getting our word out there. David, back to you.
Thanks, Shane. So what is the Smart Grid Maturity Model? This is the one-sentence version of today's presentation. The SGMM is a management tool that provides a common framework for defining key elements of smart grid transformation and helps utilities develop a programmatic approach and track their progress toward that transformation. So the Smart Grid Maturity Model can be used by utilities to help them identify where they are in their smart grid transformation efforts, to develop a shared smart grid vision and roadmap, and to reach consensus on that vision and roadmap inside the utility. It provides and can be used to communicate a common language around smart grid transformation issues. It can be used to prioritize options and support decision-making in terms of both developing strategy and tactics for smart grid transformation. It can be useful for helping a utility compare itself to peers to provide insight on how their strategy and position may differ. It can be used to measure progress toward transformation, and it provides a lot of guidance for preparing people in the utility and the utility itself for change and then facilitating that change.